Namaste and hi friends, it's Parvati here with Visionary Veda, bringing you your Vedic Astrology Solar Eclipse report for this October 2nd, 2024. In this report, I will go over the energies at play for this very powerful solar eclipse happening in the sidereal sign of Virgo, in the fixed star or the nakshatra known as Hasta Nakshatra. So I have a lot to cover in this report. I'm also going to talk about the 9 nights of the goddess immediately following this solar eclipse, as well as Jupiter going retrograde on October 9th. So let's go ahead and get started because we have a lot to go over. So before I start with the energies of this eclipse, let's just go a little bit back to the last lunar eclipse that happened, and even the previous solar eclipse that happened in Pisces back in April 8th of this year. And the last lunar eclipse was on September 17th of this last year, also happening in Pisces. So Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. This eclipse, this lunar eclipse that happened, also included Neptune, which is sitting in sidereal Pisces as well. So a lot of themes of water, a lot of water-related disasters have been on the rise after the first eclipse, solar eclipse in April. All of Dubai was flooded, and that's a desert, right? After this eclipse, this last lunar eclipse that happened in Pisces, we had this hurricane hitting the east coast of the United States, disaster in North Carolina. Also, there are heavy floodings in India, in Nepal. All over the planet, you can see the effects of the sign of Pisces and these great water natural disasters. At the same time as that last lunar eclipse, we had the sun opposite the moon, obviously, in the sign of Virgo with a debilitated Venus. Now, Venus debilitates in Virgo. It was not only debilitated during this eclipse, but it was very, very weak. Venus is a benefic, so usually it tries to protect its interests, but when it's debilitated and weak, it was on the very last degrees of Virgo as this last eclipse was happening. Whenever a planet is changing signs, changing rashis, it gets weak. It is the strongest when it's in the middle 10 degrees of the sign. So as it's at the very end of the sign, it tends to cause weakness in its significations. And so we have seen all of this scandal, all of this interesting news coming up about the way Hollywood works. And it's not only because of the eclipses that this is happening. Another big reason is, if you see it in my past videos of this year, I can't remember which videos I mentioned it in, but we have the 3 visible outer planets. Rahu's not visible, but Rahu's included, aspecting the sign of Scorpio, which is the sign of secrets, underdealings, clandestine agreements and ventures and things of that nature. So you have Saturn giving its 10th aspect to Scorpio, which is a very karmic aspect. All of the planets bring karma, yes, but this 10th aspect of Saturn in particular brings about karmic undoings. Then we have Rahu giving its 9th aspect. Now, Rahu gives this aspect to Scorpio. It is it indicates cheaters, it indicates liars, it indicates people that are trying to do things that they're not supposed to do behind the scenes. So this is also a big factor in why all of these things are coming up at this moment. Then, of course, we have Jupiter, the great dharmic planet, giving its 7th aspect to Scorpio. So Jupiter is in charge of setting things right. When people have been getting away with things which are hurting others, which are cheating others, lying to others, stealing from others, presenting in a way that's not true to what they're really up to. Jupiter is in charge of setting things right. So since the last eclipse, we've seen a lot of these indications actually happening out into the world. Now, with this next eclipse that's coming up on the 2nd of October, these themes are going to continue. Venus is actually in a pretty good place during this eclipse, but we are going to have Mercury smack dab, like 1 or 2 degrees, 1 degree close to where the actual eclipse point is happening. Now, unlike Venus, which was debilitated in Virgo, Mercury is exalted in Virgo. It is one of its, strong, it's its Motrikona, it's its exaltation sign. It's a very strong sign for Mercury, which shows me that with the advent of this eclipse, with the coming of this eclipse, many things that are under the jurisdiction of the planet Mercury can go through some massive changes, and that includes business, communication, and commerce. So it's very important not to make any crazy kind of gambles during this time, or any unsound investments, or any new item in your life that you wish to, a big one though. Small things don't worry about, but if there's a huge change in your life, or a new job, or a big move that's going to affect your income, just be aware. Just hold off a little bit until things settle after this eclipse. Now, we also have the outer planets kind of making interesting aspects to this eclipse. Usually, as a Vedic astrologer, I don't bring in the outer planets because they're very generational in nature. They indicate a huge change over a long period of time, but all 3 outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, are somehow aspecting this eclipse. Neptune is giving its opposition. So there's going to be a tendency, same with the last eclipse, to want to escape. Really try hard not to do that. When things start to come up, they need to come up in order for us to acknowledge them and also work on changing them, improving them. And it's easy to get overwhelmed when things are in flux and in change. And it's easy to want to fall back to old, unhealthy coping mechanisms, but do your best during this eclipse to stay grounded and centered, and always remember who it is that you really are. And we are all divine, immortal, pure spirit. We are soul. We are transcendent of this mundane reality. We're in it, but we are also transcendent of it. So keep coming back to that place within you of knowing who it is that you are, and knowing that no matter what comes your way, you're going to be able to get over it, deal with it, and come through to the other side better than before. These old things that are falling apart on a larger scale, as well as in our personal lives, is just making way for the new to be able to come in. And that's the way it is with all of the eclipses, with all of the new moons, but especially this one, because this one is known as the Mahalaya Amavasya. The Mahalaya, or the Pralaya. The Pralaya is bigger than the Mahalaya, but it indicates a dissolution, a dissolving, a letting go, a breaking apart, in order to unify with the ocean of the great ocean of consciousness, in order to unify with our higher true selves into the great cosmic of the great ocean of cosmic consciousness, right? Unifying into the one. So it's a process. Our life is a process of letting go of things that we identify with that are not there, the absolute truth of who it is that we are, that is identifying with temporal things that are always going to change versus identifying with our true soul, our true consciousness, our true oneness with source. So just always keep that in mind, especially when you're looking at the astrology. Everybody wants to know what's happening, what's coming up, what's going to happen to their lives. It's part of the mystery. It's part of the process. Don't be afraid. This is the best the best eclipse, solar eclipse, to really come into harmony with the greater energies, right? We have the lunar energy, the energy of the mind, the intuition, the emotions. We have the solar energies, the energy of righteousness, the energy of wholesomeness, the energy of life itself. And we have the earth in between, which is the body. So we have the soul, the sun, we have the mind, the moon, and we have Bhumi, our bodies, all making a beautiful cosmic alignment. So it is the best time. This is why it's the best time during eclipses, during these alignment periods, where we need to go inward. We need to connect. We need to reflect to each other, to our family and friends, and remind each other of the great beings which we are, not in the egoic sense, but in the true spiritual sense. And do, if you can, any kind of meditation, grounding meditation, aligning meditation, chakra meditations, to remind and to really ground our beings into what's real, into the cosmic forces, and not into all of these things that are coming undone, because it's time for them to come undone. And it's a really good thing that it's coming undone. You know, for this eclipse, it's going to be happening in Hasta. Now, Hasta, the symbol for Hasta are the hands. Again, the key word for this eclipse is karma, doing things. If there's something that you wish to change in your life, take your hands, do the work, and change it. The forces, the currents from the cosmos are supporting us during this time. So if there's any long-standing changes you want to make, it's the time to do it. You have Jupiter giving still its dharmic aspect onto this eclipse. So the last eclipse was in Jupiter's sign in Pisces. So the theme of dharma, or righteousness, or bringing to light the events, the companies, the people that are cheating dharma, right, will come into greater light. Now, usually when it's a Rahu eclipse, we want to gain something, right? We have this feeling we need to gain something, and that can be our fall. When it's a Ketu eclipse, again, it's very karmic, because Ketu is things that we've carried over from our past lives that need to come into effect now, so we can clear those karmas as well. The sign of Virgo indicates purity. The sign of Virgo indicates day-to-day routine, day-to-day work. The sign of Virgo also indicates one's health. So just, it also indicates frenemies, people that may, that you may think that you're a friend, that they're your friend, but then somehow they betray you. This is all under the rulership of Virgo. It's also the 6th house. So it indicates our Shadripus, or our bad habits, our jealousies, our desires, our anger, our attachment, and also cheating and lying. You know, all of these negative things that keep us entrapped, that can come up to be cleared out. Either you can realize that you need to let go of one of these bad habits, you need to work on your anger, you need to work on your jealousy, or whatever it is that's showing up for you, or it can come from the outside, from somebody else, to make you realize that this is something within you that's coming up that you're being shown through actions of somebody else. And you need to do some healing work, some purifying work in order to overcome it. And it's only for the betterment of your life. The disillusionment, the letting go. You are not this, you are not that. You have nothing to feel that you need to protect because you are free. This is the state of being that we're all moving towards. And whatever that is that it's blocking your ultimate freedom, which is non-identification with any egoic construct. I know it's a huge thing, but it's a life's work, and that's why we're here to do this work, and the planets are supporting this work. So that was this eclipse. This is sort of the feeling for this eclipse. Now, I might, if I have time, if I don't talk too much, and I always talk too much, just go through the signs and give you an idea of where this eclipse is falling. But just to back up a little bit before I go into that, if I have time, I'll go into that. So after that last full moon eclipse, we had the 2 weeks or the fortnight of the Pitru Paksha. And this is the time that, if you watch my last video, I talk about venerating the ancestors. Whenever we're on a spiritual path, whenever we have the desire to grow in our awareness, to change and move in the direction of the light, there are always forces that are going to try and stop that and get in your way. And these are forces that we have to have the strength to overcome. So we still have a few more days of Pitru Paksha. Venerating our ancestors helps to unlock that door. It helps to get the blessings and the protection of our ancestors as we walk the sacred path. So it's very important, if you haven't done so up until now, you have until the solar eclipse to do some ancestral rituals or connection, to connect with them, ask for their blessings, and let them know that they can be at peace, so that we can move towards not only actualizing our own lives, but helping to release our entire lineage from whatever our ancestors weren't able to complete. So it's a very important time. Check out my last video. And if you would like, if you're interested, I will be starting a new mentorship program here after the 9 nights of the goddess, or Navratri, which starts after the solar eclipse. So if you're interested in joining my mentorship program, or if you're interested in having a reading with me to see how all of these energies are playing out in your life, please feel free to send me an email at my email below, which is visionaryveda@gmail.com. So we're going through that right now, and then we're going to have this eclipse. It's falling in the sign of Virgo, and it's going to bring, it's not the easiest eclipse because it's going to bring up these shadripus and things. It's going to show you what area in life needs a change, and obviously you're probably already feeling what area of life this change needs to happen. So it's a great time to focus during this eclipse, align during this eclipse, and think of what it is that you want to bring in. It's very important, now this is key, to always focus on what it is you want to build and not what it is that you want to get rid of. It's when we're focusing on what we want to get rid of, we're giving more energy to that. You feed what you want to grow. Feed what you want to grow, focus on what you want to grow, and what you're trying to get rid of will leave by itself because you're not feeding it anymore. So this is a very important point with any kind of, not only just in life in general, not only with the eclipses. Focus on what you want to grow. Focus on where you want to be. So this eclipse, right? Oh God, did I lose my track? I'm just going to keep recording. I just lost my track. Is in Virgo, in the nakshatra of Hasta. Sorry about that. So Hasta indicates the hands. So it is a very important time in which we take our life into our own hands. It's also very karmic. It's the nakshatra of doership. The planetary lord of this fixed star is the moon itself. And the deity is the sun, or Savitur, the solar deity. So it's an amazing, if all of my viewers that are that do real spiritual sadhana, it's an amazing time because you have both luminaries there. You have both the ruler of the nakshatra, the planetary ruler, as well as the deity of the nakshatra being the luminaries as well. And you have a very powerful Mercury to be able to make plans of what your game plan is, of your action plan, what your action plan is moving forward after the eclipse. Now, right after the eclipse, we begin the most auspicious, the most celebrated next to Diwali festival in India, and it's called Navratri, and it's literally the 9 nights, and it's every night for 9 nights following this eclipse to venerate the goddess, to bring the energy of Shakti. The goddess is powerful. She is Shakti. She is the life force energy. The goddess energy, the female energy, is what gives us life. So this is the time to worship, celebrate, venerate, and become closer to that life force energy as the goddess herself. And then in the middle of these 9 nights, we will have the great Jupiter going retrograde. So what does that mean? That means Jupiter is slowing down in the sky. So its power on this eclipse, it's giving its 5th aspect to this eclipse. Mars is giving its 4th aspect to this eclipse. So it wants you to get into line and follow a proper path of dharma. If you've been doing any kind of monkey business, it can most likely be exposed, and not in a good way, in a way that can alter your life forever. Ketu brings in sudden events. Ketu denotes sudden events. It could, unfortunately, because Mars is aspecting there, it could increase the rise in more warfare activity. I hate to say that, but it can be. It can also cause issues with business and commerce. I think I mentioned that already. But the best game plan would be to venerate the ancestors, right? Before the eclipse, just ask them for their blessing in improving, transforming, up-leveling your life. Ask them for their support. Then, during this eclipse, be wonderful to venerate Lord Ganesha, because Ketu is involved. You can also do solar mantras. You can do the Gayatri mantra, which is a mantra to Savitur itself. Very powerful mantra. Om Bhurbhuva Swaha Om Tat Savitur Varenyam Virgo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. Or Lord Ganesha. So usually in our spiritual path, Lord Ganesha, not usually, always is invoked before we do any puja to anybody, anytime, any deity, anything. We invoke Lord Ganesh. He also lost his head because Ketu is headless, right? So he is the great protector of us on our spiritual path, as well as the one who clears the obstacles from the path. So it's very powerful to always go to Lord Ganesh first, in a simple mantra that you can do during this eclipse for Lord Ganesh, because Ketu is involved, is Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. So those are some things to do, the Gayatri and the Ganesh mantra. So do those mantras, and then on the first day After the solar eclipse has finished, we start the 9 nights of Navratri. So this is when you've got your alignment, you've done your meditation, you have your plan, you know what you want to focus on. Now's the time after the eclipse for the next 9 nights to call in the energy of the goddess and utilize this Shakti to help overcome whatever it is that's limiting you. Or if things around you might be transforming, which they probably will be, and things get shaken up a bit, the goddess will help elevate you so that you can see a better path and the way to go to improve your life from this eclipse. All right, so now we're at 25 minutes. So I again wanted to say thank you to all my viewers. Please like, share, and subscribe. It really does help get my channel more circulated, better circulated. And for those of you who have stuck with me until now, I will do a quick rundown on where this eclipse is falling. Use your Vedic birth chart, please, when you listen to these sign by sign little tidbits that I'm going to give you. Okay, so use your Vedic birth chart, use your ascendant sign and your moon sign. So if you're in Aries, it is falling in your 6th house. So this is the time to look after your health, look after your day-to-day routine, and you might have some changes in those areas, as well as possibly your work routine and your work life. If it's Taurus, then this is happening in the 5th house. So your creativity, your children, your investments, make sure you keep a good eye on your investments, as well as any kind of creative endeavor that you are involved in. Plans might change in that area. If you are a Gemini, ascendant or moon sign, then this is affecting your 4th house. So changes on the home front, either new people around you at home or changes in home itself, or a restructuring, redecorating, remodeling of your home can be indicated. If you are a Cancer, this is happening in your 3rd house. So issues, changes around any kind of online presence, any kind of means or ways of communicating, and a relationship with your siblings. If you're a Leo, this is happening in the 2nd house. So you have to be very cautious the type of food that you intake. Be very cautious about your speech, because you could say something which can cause some changes in your life. And keep an eye on your savings, because there can be some things coming up which could cause you to have to use your savings. If you're Virgo, this is happening in your 1st house, in your Lagna. And if you are a Virgo, it's all about huge transformation, realigning your path to where it is that you want to go in life, taking care of your health, and you might feel like changing something about yourself in general. You might want to change the way you're speaking, the way you look, your wardrobe, things of that nature. It basically affects you the most, obviously, because it's happening in your own sign. Then we have the sign of Libra. Now, this eclipse will be falling in your 12th house. So, any kind of long distance travel plans could get disrupted. Or you might want to start a new sadhana or meditation practice, or learn a different type of spirituality. You might have interest in doing that, and also take care of your health and your expenses as well. You might also feel the need to sleep a little bit more, because it does indicate, the 12th house does indicate sleeping and dreaming as well. Then if you are a Scorpio, this is happening in your 11th house. So this can indicate changes with your friendships, with your network circles. You might be doing some projects but not get as much payback from these projects as you initially thought that you might get. So it's best to defer any type of new incentives or new adventures or just anything new until at least 10 days after this eclipse, until at least the end of Navratri. So that is for Scorpio. And then we have Sagittarius. This is happening in your 10th house. So it could indicate changes on your work front, on your leadership roles, also on how people see you, or your status in society can be affected by this eclipse. Capricorn, it is happening in your 9th house, so it can affect, or it can also encourage you to learn something new, higher studies, esoteric teaching, esoteric knowledge. All of this can open up to you as well during this eclipse and after. Then we have Aquarius, which is, this is happening in your 8th house. And so the 8th house is very, very, very transformative house. You can learn hidden secrets. You can want to take your life on a whole new direction. You might want to learn about hidden things that are not necessarily on the surface. Things of this nature could interest you. And then lastly, we have the sign of Pisces, where the last lunar eclipse fell. And this time the solar eclipse is happening in your 7th house. So relationships can change. You might find yourself meeting people of a completely different nature than what you're used to, or it can also signify a huge change in a relationship, not necessarily a breakup, possibly a breakup if it's necessary for your growth, but a restructuring, a change to your romantic partnerships and business partnerships. So this is the first time I've covered all 12 signs. I hope that gives you some good insight into what areas could be affected. But as always, you know, Vedic astrology is an exact science. So to get the best results, to see where things are happening in your life, it is best to look at the entire chart holistically. See what timings that you're running, what dasha you're running, see what transits, what planetary transits are happening, you know, just so much, what yogas are forming, because so much can change in your individual chart. And if you would like some help with seeing what is up with you in your individual chart, you can schedule a reading with me by contacting me on my email below, visionaryveda@gmail.com. If you're interested in the mentorship program, please write mentorship in the subject. If you're interested in a reading, please write reading in the subject, and we will get you on the schedule. I will get you on the schedule. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope this Mahalaya Amavasya, Mahalaya, this great dissolution, this great dissolving into the cosmic ocean of consciousness, is a good one for you. Bless the things that are falling apart in life. Bless the things that are coming unearthed so that it can be seen. Because this is the way we make change. This is the way we move ahead in our lives, collectively and individually. If things that were not working, or if those that are, you know, a bit maniacal and cheating and, you know, trying to get away with things that are hurting other people or you or people that you love come to surface, it's really important, you know, stay centered, don't get angry, but take action. The main word for this eclipse is karma, is action. And after the action, after this eclipse happens, regenerate, regroup, and bring in those cosmic forces of Shakti, of the goddess, of life itself, to support you and move you further ahead on your spiritual path and your life path in general. Another thing I guess I should mention here is that I am going to be doing a temple tour in India, introducing and going to the Shakti Peeths that introduce you to the energy of these ancient, powerful goddesses. So if you're interested in joining me on my temple tour, usually I just do them for myself, but I was thinking to open it up to a few people that might want to join on this tour. It will be happening next year, maybe January, maybe February. It depends on my dates. I'm looking into that right now, but I just wanted to throw that out there to anybody who might be interested. And if you would like more information, please check out my Facebook page, Visionary Veda, as well as my website. So until next time, I'm wishing you all a very transformative, powerful, purifying eclipse. Enjoy the life, my friends, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, thanks so much for your comments and your feedback. Until next time, take care now. Bye-bye.